Welcome back to the channel, Breakers. Today I'm bringing you 25 Spellbreak tips and tricks that you could apply to your game today, all under 6 minutes. If one of you guys noticed that I missed something really big that could be beneficial to the community, do me a favor, leave a comment below, let me know what I missed, and that way maybe somebody else can use that tip in the future. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name's Desrex. You can catch me live streaming on Twitch at Desrex_TV. Also, there's a link below that brings you directly to my Twitch. Come by, hang out, ask any questions that you have, and do me a favor. If you like this content, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next. But without further ado, let's roll that intro and get going. All right, the first thing I want to bring your attention to is this hiding spot at Fort Halcyon. Right where I'm throwing my wind, there happens to be a void inside of that rock, and I've noticed that a lot of people are starting to hide inside of that rock, whether it's the final circle or not. It would be pretty smart of you, if you happen to find yourself within the Fort Halcyon area and the circle's closing, to throw some damage inside of this rock. Make sure your enemy isn't healing up or just trying to hide out until the final circle. The rock that I'm sitting in right now is the one that works. This one doesn't. And again, my point is not to bring attention to it, to have people use this as a hiding spot, but just to keep you aware of it. I've mentioned this in another video about concealment and cover. A good spot to heal or revive teammates is inside this bush. If people have a problem with it, just tell them to go kick rocks, because it's a good spot to heal up. For Pyro, I usually run Runic Fluency, Scavenging, and Recovery. For Stone, most of the time Harmony, Scavenging, and Recovery. You can swap out Scavenging for Fervor or Dexterity. I like either, but right now my go-to talent's Scavenging. Fervor is a good option though if you're going to spam a lot of Stone, and Dexterity is really good because you conserve a little bit more mana while you're jumping in the air. Next is Toxicologist. I usually run it with Runic Fluency, Scavenging, and Recovery. For Tempest, I usually run Runic Fluency, Fervor, and Recovery. For Frost, I normally run Focused Mana, Fortitude, and Recovery. If you're built around a good team and they can tank some damage for you, Recklessness is a good option if you're going to decide not to go for a belt and just lay back and throw some shots down on people. And last but not least is Conduit. I don't normally run with Runic Fluency because I have Overlord for the extra rune charge, but Focused Mana, Fervor, and Recovery is usually my go-to build with this. Or if I'm running with the team, I'll switch it up and run Tracking or Runic Fluency. I don't normally run any Spell Slinger though. If you don't know, you could drink a shield or health pot while opening chest, or you could drink a shield or health pot while picking up other gear items such as gauntlets. Use sorcery canceling if you need to descent really fast while using Featherfall. If you're using Flight, you'll know that you can't cast Flight twice, but as you notice right now, I'm using Flight and I'm going to try to use it again, but I cannot. But if you're the Tempest class and decide to wind jump, you can actually use your Flight rune again for the second time. If you're trying to get away from an enemy and you need to cover a lot of ground, or if you're just trying to track back into the circle if you're in a storm, you could use your sorcery and then stay kind of close to the ground or an object, wind jump once, and then continue flying. Confuse your enemy with teleport by picking a teleport location and then turning around, so that way when you land after teleport, you're facing the direction you want to be facing. If there's toxic on the ground around an item that you want to pick up, use the Frost Gauntlet to shoot the toxic, freeze it, and then you can walk on top of it to pick up the item you need. If you see toxic puddles on the ground and you have the Tempest Gauntlet, you could wind slap it to make a toxic cloud and cause damage to someone around it. The only triple combo in the game is the Toxic, Tornado, and Fire. So if you see Toxic, Nado going, go ahead and throw a Fireball in it to get some good damage off. As Toxicologist, you could throw a Toxic Cloud down while holding forward and looking down to give yourself a nice dash forward. Also, if you hold the back button while looking down, you'll dash yourself straight up into the air as Toxicologist. If you don't already know, you could dash multiple times to the same Toxic Cloud. If the enemy uses a blizzard to protect themselves, use your basic attack to Toxic to make it through the blizzard. If you throw a Toxic Cloud into the blizzard, the Toxic Cloud will not erupt, but it will leave a frozen mist, which you can get frozen from. I've talked about this in a past video, but you can freeze a Toxic Cloud, and then once the freeze effect is over, you can refreeze that same Toxic Cloud. This one is just a little extra. I don't see it being very practical, but you can see the distance of a rock being thrown without me changing my crosshair. If you throw a rock and then slap it with wind, you could actually push that rock's distance a lot further. You can also throw a rock and then snipe it, so that way when it lands and hits the ground, it leaves a frozen mist for anyone not running Harmony to get frozen in. Just like sniping a rock, you can also throw a rock from inside of your blizzard to make the rock become a frozen rock and leave a frozen mist behind. You can also throw a rock and then shoot it with a fireball. When the rock hits the ground, it'll cause a little explosion and leave some fire on the ground. You can also achieve the same effect by putting down a flame wall and then throwing a rock through the flame wall. You might notice when people put their firewall down that the first couple of seconds the flame will be blue, and that is because the third level of Pyromancer, Pyrolith, flame walls do 100% increased damage for 2 seconds, and that's why it turns blue. If you really want to cause some havoc, if you see a flame wall down or you have the ability to put a flame wall down, go ahead and stone smash through the flame wall and cause your stone slams to leave fire trails behind. You could spread these fire trails as long as you have mana and as long as there's fire available to spread it. This is actually really dangerous, especially in a small circle if someone's running invis. Alright breakers, it looks like we've reached the end of our video for the day. If you liked some of these tips and tricks, let me know in the comments below on which one was your favorite. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and again, leave me a comment and tell me what you want to see next. For those of you that want to see some of my old videos, you can take a look at that playlist and it should direct you to my recent videos. But for now, I'll catch you guys in the HoloLands. See ya!